Well, hello, and welcome to the very first edition of Off the Cuff with Terry. This is my introductory. Basically, I want this to be something that I can just talk about anything and everything. I don't want it to be pigeonholed into any type of group. I'd like for people to be able to message me and tell me what it is they'd like to talk about, if anything. I've got a lot of things going on in my life, a lot of things that I don't understand, a lot of things that are just crazy in general, and a lot of things that I have hopes and aspirations for. And then there's it, of course, current events, et cetera, et cetera. Like I said, I have a whole lot of ideas on exactly what I'd like for this to be, but I kind of want it to be like when you write a book and it just kind of takes a life of itself of its own on. This is new to me, although I've heard podcasts are a great way to be able to express myself, and to also to identify better with my listening and my listening audience, my audience in general. I am doing this because I have tried to do the lives on Facebook and things like that. And although I got good reviews, etc., it just wasn't what I was looking for. I consider myself to be a jack of all trade, a master of none. I am an artist. I am a witch. I am so many different things all wrapped in one. And basically, I'm a walking contradiction. I have so many things I'd like to share with so many people and in so many different forums. That's why I didn't want this to be pigeonholed into any one thing. I wanted to see how this turned out. I'd like to share this and see how this is actually reviewed or accepted in my community of followers, and exactly what you guys would like for me to talk about. I would like to talk a little bit about what's going on. For people who don't know me, I am a 41-year-old woman who, actually, I think I'm 42. That's horrible, right? Yeah, I'm a 42-year-old woman who, and that's sad. I don't remember my age. I think after you get past a certain age, you don't really want to remember it either. So I'm 42 years old. I am in a same-sex marriage. I am a major advocate for women and women in the empowerment of women, and the education of women. That's one of the things I am an advocate for. I'm an advocate for education of all forms, and I can go on and on about those things. I have so many things that I am doing with my life at this point, that I feel like I should probably try and narrow it down, and that's what I'm in the process of doing now. I am an artist. I will always be an artist. I am also a survivor of many things. I'm a survivor of sexual, physical, mental, and emotional abuse. I come from a very dysfunctional family. I am also a suicide survivor. I have 7 documented suicide attempts. I am also a recovering addict. I am recovering from heroin, crack cocaine, as well as meth. I OD'd one time, and I am a very huge advocate for anyone who is ready to stop using and try to start, recovering from using drugs. Although I know that is a very hard fight to have. I am 100% behind anybody who is willing to do that. I know the ups and downs that come with that. I know it's not an easy road, and I have lost so many people that I have cared about. Just in a 12-month period, I have lost, I know, at least 2 people every month, and it's very sad. I was once very great possibility of being one of those people that were lost. So you'll hear me speak on that at some point. Other things, my son has autism, so I'm a great supporter of autism awareness. I just found out that I have Lyme disease. So there's so many different things that I'd like to speak on, and on different, times I will do that, as well as I've been discovering and evolving in my spirituality. I am trying to be a better person every single day. I try to do something better. I try to be a better person. I try to do better, and I try to be better than I was today, than I was yesterday, and so on and so on. Um, and that's not an easy task, especially when I am currently living with an active addict who tests every one of my skills, for lack of a better word. So I will have some episodes that will be the adventures of the active addict and the way that we have to deal with them. They will probably be done in a humorous manner. I deal with things that come my way. I've always dealt with them with humor. Um, I've been through a whole lot of, like I said, I've been in prison 3 different times. I've also been to prison boot camp. A great deal of my younger juvenile time was spent in prison. I was a foster child. My mother had Munchausen by proxy syndrome. My father, I mean, it goes on and on. I'm a great addict for suicide prevention as well. Um, there are lots of things and lots of ideas that I'd like to do. Um, I just don't know exactly which avenue to take. I know that sounds bad that I have this podcast and I want to start this and I want to do this, but I don't know exactly what avenue to take. And the reason why I say that is because I don't want to put a label on anything that I'm doing. Number one, I hate labels, they're for cans. And number two, because I feel like that pigeonholes me into one thing. I do have I have aspirations that I want to be a motivational speaker and a spiritual advisor of sorts to others. Um, I feel like we go through things in life for a reason. People are put in our life for reasons. Um, and I feel like that everything that happens to you, there's a lesson to be learned, and you're not supposed to carry around everything else that goes with that. I'll get into that later. Like I said, this is an introductory. I'd like to introduce myself. My name is Terry. I'm very opinionated. I'm very loud. I I'm very strong woman. I raised my son by myself until he was 14 years old, and then I met my wonderful wife, and just her and I, I've gone through so much. That is a story all itself, and I will probably, have a few podcasts about that. Um, Relationships are hard. Love is not easy, and neither is friendship. And I have very high standards for all of the above. So, um, that's the reason why I don't have very many friends. I only have one person in my life that I know that I love without a shadow of a doubt, that is going to be there for the rest of my life. That is my wife. Her name is Gwen. And then my children, of course. And anybody who has children knows that that's a whole other adventure. My children are grown. I have a 24-year-old, a 22-year-old, and a 20-year-old. My youngest is my son. His name is Caleb. My middle one, her name is Kelsey. And my very first one that I had, I gave up for adoption. I named her Ambria Brianna, and they renamed her Courtney Elizabeth. Still haven't found her, and I've still been looking for her. That's something that I'm in the process of doing as well. I'd like to know what everybody's opinions are on this podcast, what they'd like to see in the future, what they'd like for me to talk about, and if they'd like to be a part of it. I appreciate everybody's listening to this, and I welcome your opinions. Thank you in advance.